Alright everyone, it shouldn't come as any surprise. I'm not really a fan of Buzzfeed, and it shouldn't come as a surprise. Like, it's not news to anyone that they lie habitually. Like, they had a Buzzfeed article that mentioned me, and it was like, oh, far-right, hate-filled YouTubers. I think they just called me far-right in that one. They didn't actually say I was a Nazi, which was a slight improvement over, like, the Wall Street Journal's insinuation, but it's still funny. The other day, they were calling Count Dankula far-right in the context of an article about Tommy Robinson. They're like, oh, Tommy Robinson has been, what did they do? He got banned from monetizing things on YouTube from my hate. They haven't banned him on YouTube, he just can't monetize anything and make a living. Of course, they've gotten it to the point where any mainstream advertising sort of system, crowdfunding, merch sales, pretty much all will treat you like a pariah if you have been labeled wrong-think by the right people. Like, the SPLC doesn't like you, therefore you're not allowed to have a living unless you're willing to sue them and spend a lot of money, like that one Islamic individual did when they included him as an Islamophobe in one of their publications. Didn't exactly go over too well. I can't remember his name, but he actually fights against, like, Islamofascism and Islamophobia. Somehow this was labeled hate-filled. They actually believed that. They had to apologize, give him like $1 million, which is great. But BuzzFeed first was including Dankula in the context of this article about Tommy Robinson, saying, oh, far-right YouTube. I'm thinking to myself, how the hell is Dankula far-right? The only reason that 90% of these people associate him with political views at all, the only reason he's gotten involved with, like, the UKIP outreach thing is because he got, you know, arrested and fined by his government for teaching a dog to do a dumb trick. That's really, it's a farce. It's fucking self-satire of the British culture, Scottish culture in his case. It's a satire, a farce. Then he becomes well-known. He says, well, you know, I'm involuntarily rope-a-doped into talking about political things. And then BuzzFeed is never one to sit on and rest on its laurels. So they make the dumb article, they castigate Tommy Robinson again for no reason. They're like, corporate fascism is a good thing because we're Nazis, which is the funniest argument you can make. And by the way, Dankula's far-right. It's like, yeah, and Sargon's far-right. And pretty much everyone is far-right to them. I wonder why. Then they come out yesterday, and they want to top themselves in the dumb department. They get an 8 out of 10 for their Dankula references. They're like, we want to go for the gold. We want to be the ultimate fake news. So then it turns out, you know, that story with regards to Michael Cohen and Trump and payments and shit. And Trump is done for this time, and for, you know, a brief period of time, like 12 hours, everyone was like, oh, here's the smoking gun. Here's the ultimate bombshell. This is what Mueller is going to say. Wow, Trump actually is going to be impeached. And I said nothing at the time. I didn't make a video on the topic because I knew, look, looking at this report, it doesn't look entirely... Anonymous sources say X, Y, and Z. What do we know about recent news for like the last 2 years with regards to anonymous sources? You know who the anonymous sources tend to be? Trump loyalists that are trolling the media at Trump's behest. I wouldn't be surprised if he himself designed this release and he just forced the Mueller team, yes, special counsel itself had to come out to discredit the BuzzFeed story. And BuzzFeed, despite the fact that Mueller's team itself came out and said, well, it's not accurate, this report's characterization of information and facts is simply wrong, the two funny things happen. First, BuzzFeed doubles down instead of apologizing and backing away from the situation, which I don't know if that's a good idea because, again, it could be that BuzzFeed was legit trolled by a couple of these anonymous sources, which would be funny. It's happened before, almost guaranteed. That's number one. Number two, a bunch of people on the left, like Dworkin, come out. They're like, oh, well, this just says, Mueller's team is just saying that the report is inaccurate. It's not saying specifically why it's inaccurate. So it's actually true, it's just, it's lawyer speak. I'm sitting there thinking to myself, you believe that Mueller is like the ultimate headhunter after Trump, and yet you're trying to claim that. It doesn't make any sense. Why would special counsel even bother to come out? Have they come out before to discredit any of these wonky news stories? No, somebody else has to discredit it. Mueller doesn't do it. Mueller's people don't do it. Local law enforcement comes out occasionally to say, look, your characterization of what was said by a field agent or whatever is not correct, or here's the real facts, you know, you got this half right or whatever. That's happened. And we've had instances where the fake news media is exposed by other fake news media organizations in an opportunistic backstab to try to get attention. But we've never seen Mueller's probe itself has to come and do this. Now, I'll tell you what I think. I think we're nearing the end of the Mueller probe, and I think Trump and Giuliani know it, which is why Giuliani came out a few days ago and trolled the whole media. I was going to make a video on it. I had to keep bumping it so it was no longer a current event. It's an antiquated event. Giuliani, you remember, like this was 3 or 4 days ago, he came out and he said, I never said there wasn't Russian collusion. I said there wasn't Russian collusion with Trump himself. I never said anything about the campaign. Now, that's bullshit, number one. What he's referring to is, yeah, there were probably lower-level individuals who communicated improperly and violated, you know, diplomatic rules. That happens with every friggin' campaign. It's happened over and over again. Didn't Julian Castro get in trouble at one point for giving an interview in an official capacity where he had, like, political leanings and stuff? Laws are broken and regulations are broken within government all the time, both in figures incoming and in figures already there. That's nothing new. It's also not particularly a problem, even if it is common. It's not the end of the world. It doesn't show that a foreign state interfered significantly with our election. But Giuliani trolled them. What did he actually say? He defends Trump, gets them to take it up as front page news just by maybe throwing some other people under the bus that aren't even named. Well, he trolled the entire media by doing that. And then everyone's like, yeah, even the president's lawyer says there's collusion. Yeah, but read the article. Not going to mention Trump colluding with anyone, and that's really what it's about. These people want to impeach Trump. And so when they got a story from Buzzfeed that now is probably false and has been exposed as probably false, at least in large part, with the special counsel having to come out to put a damper on it, I think what's happening is Trump had this done deliberately to get all eyes on the fact that the media lies and does the anonymous source bullshit defamation thing, number one, and put it back on the Mueller probe, number two, at a time when all eyes were on the shutdown. Why would he want this? Because he knows the Mueller probe is going to end soon and he'll be exonerated. That's really what it's about. He wants people to look at the Mueller probe. If he was a guilty man, if he thought that he was going to get indicted or had done anything substantially wrong enough to face significant criticism even from Congress, do you think that he would constantly talk about this probe? No. Just like if he didn't expect to win on the shutdown deal eventually, he wouldn't be talking about that. He'd just go silent and talk about North Korea or taxes or job creation or something like that. That's Trump's forte. He's trying to get you to look at the Mueller probe because he wants, trust me, he wants you to be tuned in live when Mueller finally announces on live TV that the president didn't collude with a foreign state and didn't do anything impeachable. Because it's going to be hilarious, and then his approval supposedly is slipping. Now, I wonder how many points it'll rise on, in the next week after that. Do you think that a lot of these polling firms will be like, oh, we can't conduct a poll? It might show that he's improved significantly. I give the over-under at 5 or 6 points. I think it'll be quite significant, put him above 45. That's just my opinion, though. So yeah, BuzzFeed is full of liars. They lied about Dankula. They support corporate censorship because they want to squish their competitors. Tommy Robinson does the news and analysis and reporting thing. He competes with BuzzFeed, technically speaking. Doesn't he work for some Canadian firm, like Rebel News or something like that? By the way, I heard scuttlebutt that Crowder just fired Owen Benjamin or something. I just saw that on my subscriptions list. Can't confirm. Somebody else can say in the comments. That's about all. Peace out.